of an erstwhile colleague and friend of yours in the party that you used to be in, the VVD, Sam Cherubi. Now, he said that he used to know you well, and he was sure you were not a racist, but then he said you changed. You left the party, the VVD, and he says Geert wasn't a racist, but he constantly chose a stance and appealed to racism to move into the spotlight. Well, it is a choice you have made.
Well, I mean, this is a political opponent saying political things which are really not true. And this is the problem.
He's an opponent now. He wasn't an opponent. He was a colleague in the party that you left because they weren't extreme enough.
Listen, this is the problem with Europe today. That journalists, with all respect, like yourself, that politicians, that the media, that they say to everybody who stands up and says, I'm not a cultural relativist. Our culture is better and the Islamic culture is retarded. I don't want immigration from Muslim countries. I want to be proud of our identity. I'm not a nationalist, but I'm proud of who we are, and maybe a chauvinist. That those people are labeled as xenophobes, as racist, or invoking racism of a kind of blah blah. And this is all ridiculous. Face the problems today. What are the problems today in Europe? The problems today are connected with immigrations, with backwardness of an ideology that is coming to our continent today. And it doesn't help if you label us as racist or xenophobe, which we are not.
I have no problem with you taking a pop at journalists. We are elected by nobody. We have no mandate. But lumping politicians with journalists is more problematic. Politicians in the Netherlands have a mandate. The fact is that the mainstream politicians who you routinely dismiss contemptuously as cowards, they are the politicians who win the most votes. By far. By far. They have a mandate to do what they do. You describe it as cowardly. It is what the Dutch people actually want. And that's your problem. You say you're defending the Dutch identity, but then you seem to be at variance with clear majority thinking in your own country.
I'm very sorry to say, I don't want to be nasty every time, but you're really wrong there. If you look at the three governing parties today in the Netherlands that won the elections 2 years ago, they all lost almost half of their electorate in the last 2 years, where we won 50% of the vote when you
Geert
look back from 2 years.
You have 9 seats out of 150.
Now we have 9 seats.
Look at reality.
We are a new political party. There was not so long ago a poll by an historical magazine in the Netherlands, a respected weekly, and it showed that 62% of the Dutch voters thought that Islam was a threat for their society, and 64% of the Dutch voters thought that the immigration policy was the biggest mistake of the Dutch government after the Second World War. Okay, those numbers are higher than the 10% that we represent today, but they are growing. And I tell you that if the government in Europe, in the Netherlands, in the UK is not changing its tune very fast, those people, those numbers will come to parties like my own party. Not because they think Geert Wilders is such a nice guy, but because they believe that once again the Islam is a threat, like my own party. Not because they think Geert Wilders is such a nice guy, but because they believe that once again the Islam is a threat to our society.
But you have to believe that, don't you? Because you have made a major sacrifice with the stand you have taken. It is no fun having your life lived with 6 bodyguards following you everywhere, with sleeping in safe houses, only seeing your wife occasionally. I can imagine that is no fun. And you are trapped in it for the long term. The police say, even if you talked only about the price of cauliflowers for the next 20 years, you would still have to live that life. So you have to believe that this is a battle you are going to win. Otherwise, what is all of this pain that you are suffering for?
Well, listen, I don't want to laugh in your face, but I seldom have heard something so ridiculous as that. I'm trapped. I'm a successful politician with a new political party that is gaining 50% 1.5 years after the elections. Today, 1 million people would vote for us. Look at any poll in the Netherlands. We are growing. We go from 9 to 14 seats. We become more popular every day.
Forgive me,
I
wasn't just talking...
I'm trapped and I have to believe in it. I don't have to believe in everything. I do believe in it. This is perhaps your problem. I'm not a xenophobe. I'm not a racist. But I do believe that Islam is a threat in our society. And I see that a lot of my countrymen support it. Even more today than yesterday.
You're slightly misunderstanding my question. I was actually in a sense, expressing empathy with your position. You are trapped
nice
physically.
kind of empathy.
Well, you're physically trapped. You cannot escape the bodyguards. You have no privacy. I believe you sleep in different locations,
I pay a high
often
price.
without your wife.
I pay a high price.
You pay a high
I
price.
pay a high price,
and
indeed.
it seems to me psychologically, therefore, because you are paying a high price, you have to continue to believe
this is really
the fight is worth it and that it's winnable, even if it's not.
No, this is really very bad psychology, if you allow me to say so. Nobody would be happier than Geert Wilders if the Dutch government and European governments would change their policy and would be stricter on immigration and would be tougher on people from a Muslim background that commit crimes or do most terrible things in our countries. Nobody would be happier than myself. And I'm not trapped in any way, not only because I've become more popular and the ideas get more support, but I want to change. I want to change. I want more sense of urgency to the government. I'm fighting here every day to all the ministers and prime ministers of the Netherlands to get this sense of urgency. I choose a tough road because I believe I have a mission. And if somebody else would take this mission, I would applaud him. But unfortunately, we have cowards and we have people who are looking in the other direction.
But a colleague of yours, I guess a friend of yours, Ayaan Hirsi Ali, she also felt she had a mission to explain the truth about Islam. She, in the end, felt the sacrifice wasn't worth it. The Dutch nation wasn't ready for that message, and she quit. She went to the United States. She works for a conservative think tank. You may have to make the same journey.
No, I will not do that. I respect Ayaan a lot. I worked together with her. We were a member of the same political party before I started my new party. We wrote articles together. We did many things together, and I respect her choice, but it's not my choice.
Let's talk about the fact that a Jordanian court has charged you with the crime of insulting Islam. They want to put you on trial, along with Mr. Westergaard, who we talked about, the Danish cartoonist. He has responded by saying, okay, I'll come and we'll talk about this, and this will be a chance to really thrash out these issues. You have said, sorry, I'm not coming.
The difference between me and Mr. Westergaard is that he has, like you said before, no problem with Islam, and he is not facing, like they told me, immediately arrest and 3 years of jail. And how brave I might or might not be, that's for others to decide. I'm not going to a country where I know, and that's the difference between me and Mr. Westergaard, that because of my stand on Islam that we just spoke about, I will face arrest and go to jail for at least 3 years. I might be brave according to some people, but I'm not stupid. But I'm angered by the Jordanians. The public prosecutor in the Netherlands said that I did nothing wrong, that they are not going to prosecute me because of fitna. And how come that people accept that a country, which is not even a democracy, in Jordan, that they are going to subpoena and get into court a parliamentarian from Europe. Next week it could be a parliamentarian for the United Kingdom. And I'm angered again that nobody's standing up, not even the Dutch Prime Minister, who is a big coward, who is not standing up and saying, I'm not accepting this. He didn't commit a crime in the Netherlands, he didn't commit a crime in Jordan. Jordan, please go away. Stop it.
Geert Wilders, thank you very much for being on Hardtalk.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you very much indeed.